Everyone, I am Soumya, currently pursuing MBA at Shri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, Bangalore. I have a assignment on types of experimental research design, subject, research methodology, and intellectual property right. First, what is experimental design? The experimental research design it is a methodology to use in the investigate the cause and effect of the relationship between the variables. It's manipulating the one or more independent variables and measuring their effect and independence variables and controlling the extraneous variables and randomly assigning the participants to the groups and analyzing the data and draw the conclusion. The purpose of establishing a causal relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable, it ensuring that outcome due to the manipulating an independent variable, it is not other factor. It is a relationship between the what is affect x on y and does x is causes to y and how does x influencing the y. This all comes in experimental design. Classification of experimental design. The experimental design classified four categories. First one is pre-experimental design, then true experimental design, statistical experimental design, and quasi. These are all types of experimental design. This pre-experimental design it refers to the type of research design that often used at the early stages in research when the goal is to gather preliminary data and assess the feasibility of study and characterize the lack of control groups and randomized, which can limit the ability to draw causal conclusion. The pre-experimental design it is a research method that involves the collection of data within the use of control groups or random assignment. It is a typically used to explore relationship or effective of the preliminary way, often leading more experimental design in the future. Features of pre-experimental design. The first one is lack of control group. In the pre-experimental design, usually do not have a control in the group for the comparison, making it difficult to attribute changes directly to the treatment or investigate being studied. Then second one is non-random assignment. The past participants are often not randomly assigned to group which is introduce bias and confounding variables. Then third one is simple structure. These designs are usually straightforward and easy to implement and making decision. Then fourth one is exploratory in nature. These are the design offered to use generate hypothesis of the inform future research and rather than to the definite test hypothesis. Subtypes in pre-experimental design. The first one is one-shot case study, and the one-shot case study that means it's a single group. It is exposed to the treatment and outcomes measured offered. One group protest design that means a single group can measure before and after treatment of the any changes. Then third one is static group comparison. Two groups are compared but one group receives the treatment while the other doesn't without random assignment. These are the types and information about the pre-experimental design. Then second type is true experimental design. The true experimental design refers to the type of research that is involved to the manipulating the independent variable to observe an effect on an independent variable with the use of random assignment to ensure that participants are equally distributed across the different collections. The true experimental design it is a research method used to establish case and effective relationship between the variable. It is characterized by the random assignment and different treatment of groups and while controlling the controllable variables. The main feature of true experiment is first one is random assignment. In this experimental design randomly assigned either the experimental group which is received and treatment or the control groups which are randomly assigned. Then second point is control group. A control group it is include the baseline and comparison. The group doesn't have any experimental treatment, allowing researchers to the effect treatment of more clearly. Then fourth one is pre-test and post-test. Many true experimental design include the measuring taken before and after treatment of the assess the changes over the time. Then last feature of true experimental design is replication. True experimental design can often to replicate, allowing other researchers to verify finding the strength and reliability of the result. These are all features of true experimental design and types of true experimental design. First one is randomly controlled true experimental design. That means participants are randomly assigned to the either treatment or control group and outcomes are measured to the assess and effective of the intervention. Then second one is factorial design. This involves in studying multiple independent variables simultaneously and observe their visual and interactive effect on the independence variable. The final conclude true experimental design that is considering the gold standard in the research and establishing the causal relationship between the methodology and ability of the control for the confirmed variable. They provide the strong evidence to the effective and intervention of the widely used in field of psychology, medicine, and education. Then third design is statistical design. The statistical design that refers to the planning and structured experimental study to ensure that the data collection can be analyzed, effectively draw valid conclusion. The key concept in this statistical design is first one is population and sample. Population it refers to the entire group or individual. The sample it refers to the subset of the population selected for the study, which is identity represent the population to the ensure generalizability of the result. Then second key point is experimental design. In the experimental design, there are sub classifications are there. First one is control group. As mentioned earlier, control groups are helps to compare the effect and treatment. And second one is blinding. A single blind experiment participant do not know whether they are control or experimental group. In this double blinded experiment, neither the participant or nor researcher know to the which reducing bias. Then third one is data collection method. It may be surveys, experiments, observation studies, test, and common method of data collection happened in the statistical design, experimental design. And that statistical analysis in this data collection, various statistical method. It may t-test, ANOVA, statistical method. They are analyzing and how to draw the conclusion. The final conclusion of our statistical design that means it's a crucial research of experimental and study well structured that is finding the reliable and validity by carefully planning the design researcher and effectively address their hypothesis contribute valuable insight and field. And the last one is quasi-experimental design. The quasi-experimental design that means resemble the experimental design but the lack of random assignment to the treatment or control groups. The key features of quasi-experimental design is the first one is lack of random assignment. Unlike the true experimental participants are not randomly assigned in the group. Then second one is comparison group. Quasi-experimental often include the treatment group and comparison group that may help to the compare the data from one group to the another group and get the good result of the survey or experiment. Then third one is pre-existing group. Often, quasi-experimental design uses the already existing such as classes or course communities, which can be practical to study certain phenomena like that. And this allows features of quasi-experiments. And some of the subtypes of quasi-experiment is non-equivalent control group designs. It involves the comparing the group receive the treatment by a similar group that doesn't without random assignment. And one more type is interrupted time series design. It involves the taking multiple measurement before and after investigating the sea of significant change in attribute to the innovations. And the final conclusion for experimental research design is a powerful research methodology to enable the scientists to establish the cause and effect relationship between the two variables. It may test hypotheses and answer complex and research questions. The experimental design allows the researcher to manipulating the independent variable to measure that effect on dependence variable and randomizing control between the two groups and replicating the internal validity and reliability. Experimental design helps to establish the causal relationship, eliminating the confounding variable and generalizing finding. There are various design. It is pre-test, post-test, factorial. These are different research questions and context. The experimental design that inform decision making feel like psychology and education, healthcare and marketing. Thank you for watching this video.